I never thought I could actually do something like this. I took an idea that would normally be too big and too ambitious, but with help of AI, I actually make it possible. A full custom chess set with 32 pieces, inspired by my favorite Arcane series. Designed, generated, refined, printed, and painted. I genuinely never thought I'll be execute at this scale. So in this video, I'm gonna show you my full story, how I created that, showing you the full workflow from concepting and visual development to generating 3D models and preparing them for printing, the challenges I faced and how I did overcome them. Get your snacks and enjoy. This is by far my biggest video. And of course guys, like and subscribe. Let's go. Alright. So of course it all starts with the idea, and here's my story. I do like to create stuff, but I also want to create something meaningful. Sometimes printing stuff for videos is what people like, not really me. And then one evening I was actually recapping what do I want to watch, and I was reminded about Arcane. I just randomly saw a video on YouTube how Jinx fighting with Ekko, and I was like, oh, maybe I watch this masterpiece again. And there when I started to watch it, there is that amazing epic intro where those figures are sort of like made of stone. And guys, that actually hit me. That hit me so hard that I realized this is a perfect chess set. And additionally, my girlfriend always plays chess on her phone, and these things came together and it's like boom. This Arcane setting fits perfectly to become a chess set. We do have Piltover, we do have Zaun, we do have a lot of cool characters. Chess set. What do we need to make it happen? First, we need to realize that is actually voluminous, right? We do have 32 pieces, 16 for Piltover and 16 for Zaun. But since there are duplicates and a lot of pawns, we do have 6 unique pieces per side. But that's still a lot. I will need to design 12 unique pieces. And main challenge here is not only to select who I'm gonna make a pawn, knight or bishop, and is also about to making them distinguishable while there be a small size. My goal was to create a real chess set that we can actually play, that you can put on the shelf. And due to the small size, I had to choose carefully. Everything actually matters. Character selection and character pose. They must be distinguished, and I want everyone who see that immediately realize that it's like Arcane inspired and stuff. Also, of course, I've had to make it that way that you can actually print it and paint it. So amount of details must be extremely balanced. Let's start the journey. So first, let me talk about the pawns. And so there was few tries and experience. For Piltover, however, it was quite clear for me that it must be an enforcer. I was just not sure about the visual look. So eventually we do have this guy with helmets. I think it reflects exactly. If you remember, enforcers look like that when they're actually going into the riot, into the fight. So this for me was perfect. For Zaun, I was experimenting quite a bit, and there was an option to make it as zombie infected by Shimmer, and you might see here guys, they are green. This is like my internal brain lag. I was for some reason decided to go with green when I was prompting that, but of course later it will be replaced for Shimmer color, which is more like pink, dark violet. So imagine it as Shimmer color. It should not be green, right? It's my fault. It should be actually this color. Here is like Hextech, right? So it's like blue. This is correct color. But in the end, I actually wanted to make it like more human. So it will be a Zaun tag with this metal tube, maybe with some shimmer inside. And to be honest guys, creating all 12 unique pieces the way I wanted, in the right poses, making sure they reflect the character and also look like a chess piece, took me almost 3 days. Yes, not a full-time 3 days, but that was a lot. I created more than 1,000 images. You will of course see some of them, but there was way more. And what about Rooks? Well, that was actually a difficult one. For Piltover, I figured it out quite fast. So there will be Hextech tower was perfectly designed to become a rook in my chess set. 100%. Look at this. It's just perfect. As for the Zaun, I was actually a little bit struggling. So I cannot recall any signature building in Zaun, especially in Arcane Part 1. So after thinking a bit, experimenting a lot, I was trying to prompt some buildings that will remind of Zaun, but nothing was clicking. But then something actually clicked that Zaun is about Shimmer in the end. That is like a lot of things built around Shimmer. Is like it was a spreading infection. What about I create a Shimmer collector? And yes, of course, eventually we painted like in the Shimmer color. And here let me tell you about one important thing that I had to consider. I really needed to fit all figures into the vertical proportions, right? Because they will be all on one board, and if they will go too much to the sides, it will be actually hard to put them all on one board. So you can see I was trying to prompting them so they're sort of having vertical final shape. And that rule is very important for all the rest models. Pay attention to this. That actually took me quite a lot. And with Rooks, it was super easy to fit into right proportions, as you can see. And Shimmer Collector reminds Rook. Very, very nice. And the Hextech Tower as well. I'm super happy with this one. Let me know if you have better ideas, what you can do for Zaun, for example. And bada-bam, Knights. Ooh, these ones you like. So for Piltover, that is Ekko. I mean, of course it's Ekko, but why? Because we need someone moving fast. Who move faster than Ekko and his skateboard? I don't know, that's why I chose him. And honestly, that is one of my favorite characters, so I had to make him super cool. And that's probably the coolest piece so far, except the royal pieces I'll reveal in the end. So there were a few options with Ekko, so here's one of my first reference, and here you can see like there's like just a standing Ekko, but that's actually not dynamic feeling of movement. So I started to play around with the skateboard, and there was quite a lot of tries, and then I got something like this and I'm like, ooh, yes, this is exactly what I want. And if you can pay attention, it is sort of vertical, right? It is positioned on the base that way, so it's still vertical. And here's that guy, by the way. It feels vertical. It feels like a chess piece. As for Zaun, this might be a bit controversial, but I chose Warwick, the mutated Vander. The controversial part here is that Vander is actually a good hero for me, but he was mutated to Warwick, so that's sort of like somewhere in the middle. But one thing for sure, he is for Zaun, definitely not Piltover. And he is moving fast. Trust me, he is damn fast. Also, I really want to brought him here because he is a part of one of the most sensitive scene in whole series, when Jinx and Warwick first time recognized them and they do that hug, and that actually can make anyone cry. Now, I also needed to generate the 3D models, of course. And for creating 3D models, my choice is Tripo, which is, according to Top 3D AI, is also the favorite tool to most of you, and I couldn't agree. Right now, it offers everything you might need. So they also recently added image generation with all the models I usually use. So I actually saved plenty of time generating images. And right here, you can actually start generating 3D model. So in Tripo, there are two main modes, HD model and Smart Mesh. Smart Mesh is perfect for gaming. It creates low poly version like in 5 seconds. Absolutely cool, but not for this video because we're gonna need a very detailed mesh. So HD model is our choice here. What about settings I used? I didn't need the texture. Generating texture doesn't make sense for us, and we're gonna save some credits. For the topology, actually, we can go with max and triangles, because anyway, I'm gonna drop them in Blender and do manually check up on the mesh, and it's very easy to do it with high dense mesh in sculpting mode. And of course, Tripo 3.1 frontier model right now. And look at the results. It is absolutely insane. I mean, this is the main reason why this project is actually possible. Look how accurate it followed the reference. Look at the fingers, all 5 fingers here and here. They are separated like. It looks just amazing. You can even export it right for printing here, but realistically always needs some touch, and also we're gonna need to work with the base a little bit. An amazing result. Of course, let me be fair, sometimes with first try, it might not be that good. And I of course did more than 1 tries. And the good news here is that we can do that for free up to 3 times. And I respect that. AI models are not perfect. They might get something wrong, but the current state is amazing. 3 retries will be enough to make it perfect. Also, if you have very difficult character with something on the back or on the sides that you want to specify, there is image to multi-view that you can use to control what will be generated from sides. So guys, I honestly recommend you to give it a try. By link in the description, you get free credits, and there is also a promo code to get 60% off your pro plan. Now when the models are generated, we're gonna bring them to Blender. So you can export in plenty of formats like GLB, but since we only work with geometry, I'm gonna use STL. Also you can use FBX. Also I recommend FBX because FBX do not have unmerged vertices usually, and it transfers geometry a little bit more carefully. In Blender, the very first thing was to actually set them in right sizes. How I addressed that? Quite easy actually. I created few cylinders like this, which represent the real sizes, the constraint that I have in my physical chessboard. So each cell, it was a square around 3.9 centimeters. So of course I realized that base might be a little bit smaller than the whole shape, so I decided to set it to 3.7 and 3.7 in the base. And by height there are 3 variations. So for pawns, I decided to use 4.5. For everything else except royal pieces, we're gonna go with 6.5. And royal pieces such as king and queen will go up to 7.5. So I locked them in Blender, and then my job was actually to fit the figures into these boxes. And now time to reveal bishops. Well guys, you already might guess. Here we'll see the most epic duo, which will be Sevika and Vi. Of course, they were fighting quite often with each other, and honestly, I really like them. So of course for Vi, I choose this pose with these gauntlets, powered by Hextech. For Sevika, there was few options, and I decided to go with this crazy mechanic arm that Jinx created for her. I think she only used in season 1. But for me, it was the coolest one. I also played with the size, and for example, even though I might like this one, couldn't use it because it will not fit. I either had to make it too small to fit into the constraints, or what I did, I changed the pose so now it fits. And here's she in my hands, and it looks amazing. It fits exactly to the size while still having these amazing details. Now, one more thing I did in Blender is that I wanted them to share one base because AI was always giving me different bases. I think that's important to make them look consistent, the base. So what I did actually, starting with the pawns, I prompted the base that I like. So this base is actually here, and for Piltover the base is this one. And from the pawn I separated these bases and saved them as a separate object. Later on, I removed original bases from every generated piece and added my universal base. So there were 2 bases for Piltover and Zaun, obviously. Also, it was easier to maintain size of the base. I did in Blender is obviously checking the mesh for some small holes, small details, the making sure they're actually ready for print. And to my surprise, actually, Tripo gives very good models, and technically you can actually drop it to printing right away. In my case, since I was printing them very small, I wanted to make sure I will remove some very small thin details, make sure there are no small holes that will make this printing difficult. And again, if you know, when you have to print it on resin printer, you need to put all the supports, then you have to remove the supports. So we did few test printing and realized that very small details, although we can actually make them, will be very painful. So in my whole sculpting, I used just few tools again. It was just adding volume and smoothing some parts, removing unnecessary thin holes and details. Somewhere I also addressed some small artifacts. Also in Blender, there are tools to check if there are non-manifold stuff. So I was joining the object, cleaning up, fixing holes, fixing imperfections, fixing geometry, remesh, smooth, remesh, smooth, optimizing. In the end, I also cut the polygons up to 1 million. That's very easy to do with decimate modifier in Blender. And that's pretty much it. I didn't do any sculpting, just fine-tuning, just polishing, making sure I can print it. And export back to STL. Now let me reveal the first royal pieces. Let's start with Piltover. Actually, there were a lot of candidates, but I decided for my project that it will be Jayce and Caitlyn. I think they are an amazing duo. They do represent different sides of Piltover. Caitlyn is from royal families, and Jayce is someone who actually made to the top. Of course, Jayce is one of those who made it all around Hextech. So 100% I wanted him here, and Caitlyn also one of my favorite characters. But for Piltover, not gonna lie, I was thinking about other options. So I definitely want to know, guys, what you would create as a king and queen here. And after I have all pieces generated, it's time to start printing. The printing starts with building up supports. And I'm gonna be honest, for me, that's a very difficult one because the figures were small. I do not have like a lot of experience building up. We did some failed generations, so my supports might not look very nice. So to address these issues and to not stress that much, we decided to add a little bit more support that maybe it needs. And we were able to print it all and later just polish this support connection. So big thanks to my girlfriend who helped me a lot with all this process. Pretty much she was doing whole part, making all those supports, then printing it actually, then there's a process of curing, and of course you're gonna need to remove those support. That's quite a long process, and since again they are very small pieces, you need to make it very careful. So there were a lot of tears when you print it. The printing takes like around 3 to 4 hours, and then like one cut of the support, break it all. So yeah guys, it might look that there are a lot of supports added, but it was true struggle. Maybe if we could choose like a bit different size, it will be easier, but the end result is exactly how we wanted. And guys, I really hope you're enjoying this video, so hit that like and subscribe button. That will help more people to see this content and get inspired to create something. And finally, let me reveal those two characters who was actually in the very beginning of this idea. Welcome the most epic duo, Silco and Jinx. And guys, you could not convince me that there is any better duo for king and queen for Zaun. Actually, to be honest, it was so clear for me who will be king and queen. It's like a best fit. So how did I create it? For Silco, it was super easy. His pose, the character exactly fits into my constraints. Like the vertical figure is tall, this magnificent look, and he's holding the shimmer. So he's a ruler, he's not a fighter. Very cool, straightforward. Not to say I experimented a lot, just a little bit with the pose. So initially there was a problem with the code, but again I prompted it quickly. And of course Jinx. Oh my god, there was a lot of options how I could make Jinx. There was a lot of poses. Every pose was looking very cool, and there was a lot of failed generation like this one, like 2 shark rockets for example. It was always clear what I wanted to do. So eventually I prompted it like that. So she is standing on the shark gun. So eventually we do have this, and you might see there are ponytails that are quite long, and that was risk if we can print it or not. And yes, we printed, and it was actually working well. One of the thing I did in sculpting, I actually extended the base just to make sure there's enough volume and covered some unnecessary holes to make it more solid, more strong. And we actually made it. After the model is printed, there was time to actually paint them. So the painting happens in 2 phases. First, we need to add a base and wait it dry. So later we can actually add a color layer. So I actually wanted to make it sort of like a stone effect, like a marble maybe. But when we tried to do anything like that, it was actually on small figures like this, it was looking more dirty than cool. So we decided to actually leave it as a solid color. And this solid color also helps to read the details. Same actually goes for white color. And as you can already see, one small detail was about adding luminescent base on some areas to highlight these Hextech and Shimmer colors. We were a bit scared to do that, and again there was a lot of tears playing with it, but eventually my girlfriend figured out and we have this amazing results. And through all struggles, we actually made all 32 chess pieces live with the custom board. It's not the custom board we made completely, we took something and painted on top so it fits the style, and I cannot describe how cool was that to finally put them all together, record this video, play with this chess. Just look at this, it's amazing. Let me stop talking for a second, enjoy. So guys, that was really big project. But the main thing here that I want to show you, it is possible now to create that amazing things for yourselves. I could honestly never imagine at some day I could create all these amazing pieces by myself, inspired by my favorite series, so I can surprise my friends when they come to me. This is amazing time we live in, and I am about to create even more cool stuff. If you do closer look to all these chess pieces, you might see a lot of imperfections. For me, I learned a lot during the process, and next time it will be way better with supports, with polishing, with painting. But the fact it's possible, that's already amazing. Like and subscribe, and see you in the next videos.